Okay, well, this is still something very new for me. I'm still trying to figure out how to completely do this, but um, if you can, definitely thank you for showing up to the Stickers and Scuffs YouTube channel. We're trying to figure out a lot of stuff on how to, get the product out there a little bit more. Obviously, there's a lot of things that you have to watch um, in terms of content and making sure that people are tuning in. And I mean, for us, it's always something that's kind of interesting is being able to try to highlight the NASCAR Pinty series in some way. Um, it's not always the easiest thing um, to do, and something like this where it's absolutely crucial to get some content in the off season because you're trying to build the series in for the next year, and obviously there's no races happening at the current time, but we've got some new episodes on the channel right now, which we're very excited about. We obviously, it was a little bit, as Graydon said it best, is bittersweet kind of situation with the Chukasa deal, and we're really hoping that uh, we'll be able to we'd be able to go to more events next year. It'll be probably a little bit different because there's more than likely going to be events across the border, or across the provincial borders, out east and west, and that's obviously going to be a little bit different for us. Maybe a little bit difficult as well to try and achieve that. Trying to pay your way out there is pretty expensive. So the goal here is to put on the NASCAR Pinty Series fictional season, race number 1 at CTMP. I'm going to hopefully be able to do that. So I've got to do certain things, which would include removing me right now. Don't really want to have me in this. It's not, you don't really need that. So what we'll do is we'll try and figure things out. Obviously, I just have to fix the settings here for a second because one of the things I was messing with was trying to get the best quality in terms of the graphics, and obviously to be able to do the graphics a certain way, you've got to have to put them in some sort of a window, but I'm not sure kind of how this will work out. So we'll give it a shot and see if it'll work. If not, oh well, it was worth a shot. And it's always part of it. There's always a lot of fun doing these and trying to learn, and hopefully it'll show up. I mean, I'm not 100% sure how it will, but we'll give it a shot here and see if it does show up. Hopefully it's come out on the screen and be able to check it out. But so we've done a lot of different things with the podcast here, but one of my favorite things, and really what kind of has always been my love, is doing the paint schemes for cars and trying to attract some businesses to the series. And I'm just trying to check actually YouTube right now, make sure everything's working okay. I don't know if it is, so we'll see. I'm just hoping that it'll actually yeah. It's not doing what I need it to do, so I'm gonna have to lower this so that I can move it into the right spot, which is what I was expecting to have to do. It's still a complete learning experience for me. I don't have a technical background at all, and I can't say that I'm one of those the younger generation that knows so much about tech. right away. Definitely not like that anymore. I felt like it years ago that I was the guy that knew so much about all sorts of technology, and that's back in the days where we had VCR DVD combos. So things have definitely changed since then. But I'm just going to change the graphic settings here, and hopefully everything will work. I had to make some really big changes to the graphics recently, and so we'll see what they do here. We'll see if it works. I mean, I don't know if it will, but we'll give it a shot. If it just completely craps out on me, then lesson learned, right? So we'll see here. I've set the OBS so that it's supposed to. Yeah, there we go. So I've got this and I've got this. So I'm just gonna make myself a little bit smaller. It'll stick me over here. So couple things. What we're gonna do right now is we're going to turn this off. We're going to turn me off. And we're going to make this nice and big for you guys. We'll just make our logo a little bit smaller. Move this in a little bit centered. Still learning for me, guys, so I apologize for the moving shit around. But like I said, I've got no experience with this at all, so but I think we're good now. All right. So obviously, if you're not aware of this is the NASCAR Pinty Series mod on NR 2003, and one of the cool experiences was getting this downloaded. It was so much fun when I fully put it together and got it made, and then developed a friendship actually with Jerry Hall, who is the creator actually for a lot of these schemes. And so what we're going to do, man, is we're going to put on a race. This is something I was really wanted to do, and I've been trying to learn how to broadcast it out properly with OBS, and we're going to do it right now. Hopefully all the graphics and everything like that are going to keep working here. We're not going to do a full 51 laps. It's going to be a long race if we do that. So we're just going to do 29 laps around CTMP, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Oddly enough, this is something I noticed today, which actually really irritated me. If you're doing track building, maybe just make sure that you have the information correct. It's not Motorsport Canada; it's in Bowmanville. Little small details that would tick me off, but we'll see here. Hopefully everything's ship-shape here. So we're at CTMP. We're going to have a little bit of the sound on, make it a little more reality. We're not going to have any of the sessions. One of the things we've got here is ratings that have already been put in. So here's your starting grid.
Drivers, to your cars.
Starting grid in your NASCAR Pinty Series Fictional Season race number 1 at CTMP, 29 laps around the famed circuit in Bowmanville, Ontario. Well, I mean, you can't really go to CTMP and expect anybody other than the main guys, and that's Kevin Lacroix, LP Dumoulin, Andrew Ranger. But of course, when you've got somebody like JR Fitzpatrick in this roster, you've definitely got to put him in this series once again. Marc-Antoine Cameron, also up there, was a winner last year at this racetrack, the second event. Kaden Lapsovich, JF Dumoulin, Alex Tagliani in 8th, Kyle Marcelli, who actually came to this series last year, and James Hinchcliffe in 10th place, running for Gaunt Brothers Racing. Gary Cloot, pole sitter last year in the first race. DJ Kennington, Brett Taylor, Dexter Stacy, and Matthew Skinnell, who was extremely impressive in this at these the two races that we had last year in the number 99. Kaden Lapsovich making a return to the series. He's going to run a couple races for White Motorsports in partnership with 22 Racing, just like his brother Trayton is. Jared Whistle also makes his return in the number 44, coming from out west, Peter Cloot. Alex Gannett in the number 52 for Rickware Racing as well. And, of course, veteran Mark Dilley in the 64 once again. You definitely got to keep an eye out for any of these drivers because they could all be somebody that you will see on a regular basis. Peter Cloot in the number 42, typically somebody that we would see at CTMP, is also right beside him. Jason White there in the number 21, Sam Fellows, who's coming off of a rookie campaign. We hope to see him back with Jim Bray Racing in some fashion. Cole Powell in the 36 will run full season in the number in the Ford for Dave Jacobs Racing. Malcolm Strawn in the 56. Larry Jackson will run the number 84. Jocelyn Fecto in the 77, and somebody we normally see here at CTMP. David Thorndike will run the 67 for Promotive Racing. Isabel Trombley drives the 07, and she'll be along with TJ Renamato at the back of the field. Olivia Whistle, the rookie, in the number 88, joining her father Jared out from Alberta, coming this way. And Brent Weller, driver of the number 61, will bring up the rear here at CTMP. Very obviously excited to get this up and running, and of course there's something to mention is that a lot of these paint schemes, bases, numbers, sponsors, some of the contingencies, all provided by the amazing Jerry Hall. Haywood Racing, you can check out all of his stuff that he has provided for the Canadian Tire Series and the Pinty Series over the years. He's created paint schemes for Tagliani that have been out on the racetrack for 22 Racing. He's had some of the most amazing paint schemes put together, and he does so much graphic work for the series. And without him, this would not be something that would be possible. I'm so honored to have him as a friend and as a mentor of sorts, and he's really been very supportive. So here at CTMP, we're going to have 31 cars start this race. This is something that you typically won't see so much nowadays. It was something that we used to get around 30 cars, and we hope to be able to get that back as we continue to try and pump up this series that is so very good. We really want to be able to see more names and more teams come into this series and really help support stock car racing in Canada. It's not something that is as popular as hockey and basketball, but there is a good contingent of race fans that are here. Obviously, Grade and myself with the Stickers and Scuffs podcast are some of the biggest racing fans, but this is our local series. This is the series that we absolutely love. This is the series that we follow. So obviously, we want to promote it as much as possible, and that we promote the drivers that have been in this series. Some drivers that we've got in this race here today maybe haven't been in the series before, but we'd like to see them there. You'll see other names on the short tracks that are more regulars within the Quick Superstock Series, the APC Late Models, the Ontario Sportsman Series, but all have a passion and a drive for racing, and they're all great drivers. We'd love to see them in this series. So the field is going to start rolling off of pit road in just a couple seconds, and then they'll do only the one pace lap. Cautions are on here. Gotta love that it's actually got that. So the engines are fired here at CTMP. They are going to go around. We are going to go to a full screen view. As the field starts to roll off, hopefully the sound is going to come by pretty easily. You see this is some of the setting issues that you have coming off of pit road here. See, they kind of drag across pit road. It's just part of the terms here. You know, when you set certain things, the cars don't really position themselves in the right way. But, 31 cars, man, this is going to be fun. A lot of these, like I said, these schemes, some are based off of real schemes. Some are completely made up. As you see, like the Kevin Lacroix car, we've just got some additional sponsors on there. Reason being, want to get some new sponsors coming into the series. Obviously, we love the sponsors that we have, but here in Canada and the United States, there are so many companies that would look amazing on our race cars, and we would love to see them. So LP Dumoulin on the front row here, last year's champion, 3-time champion of the series now. He's got Kevin Lacroix right beside him, and the number 74, one of the best road racers and one of the best competitors in this series. Along with him is, Bumper to Bumper, which is, it's a local company for him. It's a family position that they're able to be in to have that on the car. But we've added a couple more sponsors on there that he doesn't have. Also along, you'll see J.R. Fitzpatrick in that number 4. Andrew Ranger in the 51. Kaden Lapsovich in the number 20. All of these names that you can see on a regular basis in the NASCAR Pinty series. But again, some of these sponsorships, if you want to see more of these sponsors in the series, you got to reach out. We have to be the ones that can help these race teams. They do as much as they can to help fund and get great programs out in Canada. But the lights are out here. We are ready to go racing at CTMP for the very first event of this season. Here we go. This is, of course, one of the best parts when we were actually at CTMP is this spot right here. Because if you were sitting on the front stretch, you can see literally them come down the entire back half of the Mario Andretti straightaway, come into this corner here, full speed. You kind of lose the positioning right here. You can't really see because it's so deep. But when they come off of this and they come side by side through these last couple of corners, man, the excitement level is huge. They're going to come off the final corners right now. Kaden Lacroix, LP Dumoulin. Green flag is out. We are underway with the NASCAR Pinty Series Fictional season on the Stickers and Scuffs YouTube channel. Kaden Lacroix is going to lead LP Dumoulin out of one into turn 2. J.R. Fitzpatrick in the number 4 and Andrew Ranger, Lapsovich and Cameron roar as well, side by side for Fitzpatrick and Ranger, still side by side. Man, this is a battle that I don't think anybody would be against if we got to see it once again on a road course. People seem to forget J.R. Fitzpatrick when they talk about road course ringers. He was one of the best, and if we give him an opportunity, he would. Contact there with Ranger and Lapsovich is going to put Kaden Lacroix a little bit further out ahead and is going to allow Andrew Ranger side by side down the Mario Andretti straightaway. The 51 and 47 rocket down. Don't want to be on that inside. Careful there. We don't want to get any contact in that spot. You ain't coming back if you make contact right there. Ranger now going to the inside. They're going to come back down the front straightaway here for the end of lap number 1. And Andrew Ranger into second place, but Kaden Lacroix has taken off. J.R. Fitzpatrick is behind in 4th place, and Kaden Lapsovich and the CIBC Hot Wheels Canada Chevrolet sits in the 5th place. Behind them is Alex Tagliani in the number 18, somebody who always runs well at CTMP, and Marc-Antoine Cameron sits behind him. We're going to take a look at the back of the field right now. Brent Weller here in the number 61. He's got Olivia Whistle in the 88 just in front of him. Olivia making her very first start in the NASCAR Pinty Series in this fictional season, of course. Love to see her doing the real thing. She is an ice racer out in Alberta, and of course the daughter of a former competitor and Western Swing competitor, Jared Whistle. Normally was run that 44, so she runs the 88. TJ Renamato just in front of Olivia there in the number 2 car. Has run a couple seasons with his, rookie season being very late in his life. TJ Renamato has been able to provide some young guns with opportunities with his RGC Sports operation. Names including Ryden and Kaden Lapsovich, as well as Dustin Momberket. Here's the IHL Markdom International number 2 car. There's a little bit of a different look here for this paint scheme. One of the things that is really great about the NR 2003 community is that you can go and find base schemes to use. This is a base scheme from RAH. And I'm not going to go out on a limb. I'm not going to go out and say that I designed these cars. No. No, I made changes to these cars to make little tweaks to them. But the real honorable people that put these schemes together, paints by RAH and Jerry Hall, of course, a combination of both. Philip Ronald as well for providing some numbers from 2021 that obviously I don't have the skill to create, but he definitely does. So we're looking at TJ Renamato here in that number 2 Chevrolet for White Motorsports, the Fictional O'Neill Electric Supply 84 for Larry Jackson. Just ahead of him in the Cozy Canada 07 is Isabel Trombley, and she has to her inside the 77 H. Gregoire Dodge of Jocelyn Fecteau, who typically we'll see here at CTMP and GP3R. Jocelyn typically runs the 77. He's got a mix of Chevys and Dodges in the past. Here's David Thorndike in the 67 with Giant Tiger on that car, Promotive Racing. They are stepping up their program for 2022, they mentioned on social media. Good look there at the 67. He had one hell of a battle, actually, with TJ Renamato and Ray Cortamash Jr. Cole Powell in the number 36. This is the Harvey's Canada Ford for Dave Jacobs. In this fictional season, he is going to run full season, as the 7 car will not. Malcolm Strawn, our good buddy, in the number 56. This is the Mill Street Brewing 56, with our club, of course, on the car for Jim Bray. Just ahead of him is his teammate, Sam Fellows, in the Canadian Tire, number 98. Obviously, the Fellows name at CTMP is a good mix. A great combination. Mark Trick Warehouse, Brock Street Brewing, also on the car here. And Bulk Barn on the number 42 for Peter Cloot. Typically would see Peter and Ryan Cloot at CTMP. They actually shared this ride in 2021. And racing Jason White in the number 21 in the Sunripe Dodge. Didn't actually get to see Jason in 2021. A real-life hero, was out helping battle the forest fires in BC. What a fantastic guy, and what a fantastic racer as well. We look forward to seeing Racing Jason back with us in 2022. More than likely, we'll also see him take a run at Daytona once again in the Truck Series, and maybe even the ARCA Menard Series. Here's Alex Gannett in the 52 Bombardier Moto Elimite Intact Insurance Ford for Rick Ware Racing. Just ahead of him, the Auto Value 64 and the 26 Wendy's Canada Chevrolet. This is Kaden Lapsovich making a start here at CTMP. Now, normally we would know Kaden Lapsovich way better of a short track racer than he was as a road racer. I think he would tell you that, but Kaden obviously is still racing down south, doing an amazing job. Let's take a lap and take a look at Kaden Lapsovich running around CTMP. Kaden Lapsovich, of course, champion of the NASCAR Pinty Series in his rookie year. We'd love to see him come back and race with his brother Trayton. Obviously, we'd love to see all 3 of the Lapsovich sons all race each other. And hell, why not add their Uncle Jim and their dad Jeff as well? Make it a full family affair out at some track. It would be awesome to see all the Lapsoviches run together. Dexter Stacy running up ahead, and then we've got Matthew Skinnell here in the 99, one of the most impressive drivers who we really didn't expect to be up front, but ran amazing with Main Street Logistics last year with My Box as well. Both are featured on this number 99 fictional car. He put such a great run in. Hopefully we'll be able to see him back. I know they're desperately trying to get him in, and hopefully he'll be able to run once again on some road courses and showcase that young talent. And of course, DJ Kennington, the veteran in the number 17. A different look here in this fictional season with the MLSC Foundation, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Of course, DJ, one of the biggest Leafs fans that you could ever tell. I mean, he loves this team. On the rear of the car, obviously, you have to have Castrol Edge. DJ and Castrol, probably the longest partnership in racing, and one of the best partnerships as well, of course. It's weird not seeing a 17 with the Castrol Edge on it, so you had to keep something Castrol Edge on the car somewhere, so it is still on there. There he is right there that you see him. Just ahead, the Gaunt Brothers Racing number 96 Dodge. Of course, we love to see the Gaunt Brothers return. John Gaunt ran in this series for so many years, and this is the Green for Life Gaunt Collision Center's Pizza Dodge. James Hinchcliffe would be a fantastic source for having, him drive in this series. We're not really sure where his IndyCar career is going to go, but it would be really cool to see him in there. And he's got a run here on Brett Taylor in the Steel number 3. Of course, Brett Taylor has, run for the EHR team for the last 2 seasons. Made the switch actually the season before, midway through, and got himself a win at Jukasa in 2019. A fantastic finish with his team boss, Jason Hathaway. And James Hinchcliffe now inching even closer to try and take the position away. We'll do a full field rundown in just a second. Kyle Marcelli here in the number 7. This is the Bass Pro Shops Canada, Dave Jacobs Ford. Of course, we typically see Pete Shepard III drive the 7 car, but Kyle came on the scene last year. Drove really well, if not for some mechanical issues in a couple of races, but did secure a podium at CTMP. Gary Cloot always runs well here, and this is the Scotiabank Black Magic 59. Pole sitter of race number 1. And really was looking on track to win that race, if not for a sway bar issue. Sway bar ended up in the windshield of Alex Tagliani. And JF Dumoulin, who we didn't see very often last year, just 1 start for him. He's a very busy driving instructor, so he's not able to make as many events in the 04. Obviously, we'd love to see some other names take the helm of the 04 for the team, and names like Isabel Trombley or Daniel Morad, drivers from Quebec, obviously extremely well-skilled across all forms of oval track and road course racing. Marc-Antoine Cameron would be one of those in the years of the 22 McDonald's Canada Chevrolet. Marc-Antoine won one of the races here at CTMP last year and finally securing that first road course victory for 22 Racing's 22 car. Scott Steckley was not able to do it, and Marc-Antoine was finally able to do it. Here's the Harry Rose, number 18, for Alex Tagliani, his teammate, in the number 18. And of course, this is the off season, so we don't know what the situation will be next year for sponsors and for teams. So obviously putting fictional cars on track is not a huge deal. There's the Harry Rosen, Tag E-Karting Chevrolet. I've always said this, that Tagliani would be a great rep for a suit company because he always seemed to be look very well groomed. He's got the perfect ability to make his goatee look very well done. So some of us aren't so lucky. Just ahead of him, of course, J.R. Fitzpatrick, one of the best in this series ever to put on the helmet and lace up and belt in, strap in. He's definitely one of the best, and why not get Kodiak Boots from Cambridge, Ontario, coming in and sponsoring him? It'd be awesome to see him. You got to see him for at least a race last year, and he was very impressive in that race, so we'd like to see him back once again. Runs in the APC series on a regular basis. CIBC Hot Wheels ride for Kaden Lapsovich, which was a rookie last year. And here is the Speedy Autoglass 47 of LP Dumoulin, and he is just behind Andrew Ranger in the 51. And your leader is still the 74 of Kaden Lacroix. Now, one of the problems that we have with this this game in the simulation, kind of what can happen is you can have a race like this where it's basically follow the leader and nothing really happens. And obviously we don't want that to be the case. We want to have the ratings be affecting the race, and it just doesn't really happen as well at some tracks. But the race I had done before this as a practice, there was a caution on the third lap because of contact. So it really isn't something that you can predict. It is just something that comes up with the game. But obviously it gives an opportunity to talk about the series and talk about what we're doing here. Obviously, race number 2 for this series at Montagny, Autodrome Montagny in Quebec, a racetrack we don't actually go to in the NASCAR Pinty series, but you know, I'm all for races across Canada. Hell, if we had the opportunity to do 20 races like this fictional season is, I would all be for it as well. But obviously we know money is what talks in racing, and that would be a little tough to do. So Kaden Lacroix is leading here. We're going to go through a full field rundown. We're going to escape here to our full rundown list. We are on lap 12 of 29, so almost halfway here. Currently, Olivia Whistle is at the back of the field in 31st place, 28 seconds behind the leader. Brent Weller is in the 61 car in 30th. TJ Renamato is in 29th. Larry Jackson, a bit of a struggle so far, in 28th place. And Isabel Trombley in her return to the series, 27th. David Thorndike sits 26th. And Jocelyn Fecteau, 25th in the 77. Cole Powell in 24th. And Jim Bray's drivers, Malcolm Strawn is 23rd, and Sam Fellows is 22nd. Peter Cloot sits in 21st place. Mark Dilley is 20th. Jason White sits 19th. Alex Gannett is 18th. Jared Whistle, in his return to the series, is running in 17th place, and Dexter Stacy runs 16th. Kaden Lapsovich sits in the 15th place, and Matthew Skinnell is 14th. DJ Kennington runs 13th, with James Hinchcliffe running in 12th. Brett Taylor is in 11th, just outside the top 10, where Kyle Marcelli sits 10th. Gary Cloot sits in 9th place. JF Dumoulin is 8th in the 04. Marc-Antoine Cameron 7th. Alex Tagliani in 6th. And our top 5 has pretty much stayed the exact same from the beginning of the race. J.R. Fitzpatrick, though, now back to 5th. Kaden Lapsovich is up to 4th. You have LP Dumoulin 3rd. Andrew Ranger is 2nd. And Kaden Lacroix has a 1.3 second lead out in front. He's led all 14 laps so far. You're currently watching the 56 of Malcolm Strawn. Malcolm, new to the series in a way. He did run in the series a couple of years ago for Jim Bray and made his way back last year, running a couple of races. Majority ended up actually running the majority of the races. Ended up doing some ovals and an old Impala for a little bit. Ran at Delaware. And he really, I think, learned quite a lot. We know he's a good road racer. They had some tough races, but I like the two-car tandem with him and Sam Fellows, and we'll see if both of those guys return in 2022. Here's the 42. This is Peter Cloot in the Bulk Barn Chevrolet. He's trying to get by the 64 of veteran Mark Dilley in the Auto Value 64 Chevy. That is for White Motorsports. White Motorsports looks to be in the position that Mark Dilley and Mixed Motorsports were in a couple of years ago when they wanted to make a lot of expansion to the series. There was talk that they were going to expand to 5 to 6 cars and maybe as high as 7 to 8, and it didn't unfortunately happen, and Mixed Motorsports did shut down and they moved over to White Motorsports, but we've already seen White Motorsports put 4 cars in one race, so it can be done. And if there's a team that looks very strong right now, it's White Motorsports with Donald Teague as part of their team. And J.F. LeBerge ran a couple of races for them. Glenn Stiers ran a couple of races for them. Brandon Watson, J.R. Fitzpatrick, obviously Mark Dilley as well, and Raphael Lessard ran for them. Very, very impressive looking operation, and Dave White definitely looks like he's got a good one. Here's Jason White in that number 21. His famous number 21 is it's the series car, I think, for him, because I think anybody that remembers Jason White on track remembers he's run a couple of great schemes here. The Bowers and Wilkins 21, but he's also run the famous A&W Canada car, which is how I got to learn about Jason White. He was the A&W car, and they had root beer they were giving out at the racetrack. And what a trooper Jason White is, coming out from Sun Peaks, British Columbia to race. One of the longest series competitors, over 100 starts in the series. So I'll definitely state that the ratings for this race probably didn't work out as I was hoping. Field's very spread out here. Got a little bit of a close-up here with Kaden Lapsovich and LP Dumoulin, but really the battle for the lead is really not changed. It is still a good distance ahead. Andrew Ranger chasing. Kevin Lacroix solidly out in the lead. And Kevin is somebody that we are used to seeing lead a lot in this series, along with Andrew Ranger. And in 2021, that was not the case. They did not have the seasons that they were hoping for. Really a struggle of a season. Even though they both got wins, it was still deemed a very unlikely season for the both of them. And we typically see them running right in this position at CTMP and most of the road courses. Well, even actually some of the ovals now too. One thing that we've definitely been able to see is a lot of the road course competitors can adapt very well to the ovals. Whereas I would say that a lot of the oval drivers, it takes a little bit longer to adapt to road course racing. So it's definitely a very, very cool thing that we're seeing a lot more road racers come into the series, and hopefully we'll see them, stick around and compete a little bit longer and make a bit of a home here. Obviously, it's a little bit different. It's a lot shorter of a season, but the tracks that they go to, the competitive field, I think the fans make it a very, very attractive series to go to. It's just, unfortunately, it's very costly. So if we can get some of these companies across Canada and the United States that want to promote their business. This would be a good place to do it here, but we are going to be wrapping up this race pretty soon here. The very first race of the 2022 fictional season for the NASCAR Pinty Series. Looks like it's going to be a walk-off here for Kaden Lacroix. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to get by him. Yeah, Andrew Ranger's closing, but I don't know if he's got the car to be able to get by the 74. The ratings here, like I said, it was a little hit and miss. I wasn't sure what I was going to get here. And so we'll have to see kind of if anything changes in the last couple of laps. One of the things that we saw at CTMP this past year, we talked with Matthew Skinnell about, was the lack of changing tires. Is that something that they could do? And Matthew Skinnell did not change tires and ran up in the front of the field before his tires started to go away. And it was extremely strong for performance, and the tires just did not give up as much as we would thought. The general tires definitely held up pretty well. But we had a couple of really odd situations, and that was like Kaden Lacroix spinning his car and having, I guess there was some sort of a mechanical issue that knocked him out of the race. Andrew Ranger once again had mechanical issues, and it looked like there was a lot of bad luck for DJK Racing last year, and I don't expect that we'll see that again. It's funny because it was across the board. It was 22 Racing, Kaden Lacroix. The only team that didn't seem to have any sort of mechanical issue the entire year was Dumoulin Competition. They did not have a single, it seemed like they did not have a single parts failure at all season, which is extremely impressive considering the amount of other drivers that did have trouble. So Andrew Ranger in the Rockstar Energy 51 sitting in second place. Of course, we've seen Rockstar Energy before with Jason Hathaway. We have not seen the IA Financial Group. This based out of Montreal. Be cool to see them. I actually love the logo. I love the color with the elephant on it. Would be kind of cool to see that. One of the things that you've got to look at here at CTMP is, of course, the scenery is one of the best looking facilities that I have ever been to. And I would say it does rival a lot of very, very good looking racetracks in the United States. One of the things that attracted, I think, the Truck Series to this series, or this racetrack actually, was the fact of how well and how much money they put into the Renault and Canadian Tire coming on board. Really makes a huge difference here. I think it's time that we do another full field rundown here, because we should be approaching, we're going to come around for 5 laps to go. Field probably doesn't look any different. The rate of closing here really not changed. 1.08 right now. It was 1.1 earlier, 1.3 earlier, so it's not really closed in that much. I don't expect that we're going to see a ton of changes here, but we never know at the end of these races here. Let's go from the back to the front, however, and we'll start with Olivia Whistle. She currently sitting at the back of the field, 42 seconds off the pace. Brent Weller is just ahead, and TJ Renamato. Larry Jackson still struggling in that number 84. He had a tough season last year on the road courses in 28th. Isabel Trombley sits 27th. David Thorndike is in 26th. Cole Powell 25th, and that's not good for him. He's running full season, so he needs to be a little bit higher in the points. Jocelyn Fecto sits 24th, and 23rd is Malcolm Strawn. 22nd, Sam Fellows. 21st for Peter Cloot, and 20th for Mark Dilley. Alex Gannett sits 19th in his number 52. The 21 for Jason White, and still sitting in that 17th place is Jared Whistle in the 44. Kaden Lapsovich, Dexter Stacy, Matthew Skinnell, and DJ Kennington from 16. Oh, we just got just a pass. Of course, as soon as I say something, Jared Whistle moves past Kaden Lapsovich to move into 16th place. Matthew Skinnell still 14th. DJ Kennington, James Hitchcliffe, Brett Taylor, and Kyle Marcelli still sitting in their same positions from earlier. Obviously, things have not really changed so much up at the front either, with Marcelli, Cloot, Dumoulin, Cameron, Tagliani, Fitzpatrick, Lapsovich, Dumoulin, Ranger, and Lacroix still sitting in their positions that they were earlier on. They're going to come around here, and they're going to get 5 laps to go to the checkered flag in what has been a dominating performance, not unlike we have seen in real life here from Kevin Lacroix. Andrew Ranger only closed in for a little bit, but it doesn't appear that he's going to be able to do so anymore. The lead 1.2 right now. Not too much of a lead, but also not diminishing at all. Kevin Lacroix has had a teammate in a couple of races. We haven't seen him in a couple of years. Matthew Kingsbury ran in 2020 for a couple of races in the Duro King 75. You'll see that fictional version of Matthew Kingsbury's car in a couple of races in this season. Of course, there'll be other names that we don't see in this series. We haven't seen as a regular. Other names that have coming from the Superstock series or the APC Late Model series. Names such as Garrett Tiemersma is one of the ones that you're going to see. He is going to run the oval track races for Promotive Racing in this series because David Thorndike will only run the road courses. You'll also see J.R. Fitzpatrick on a full-time basis, but his teammate from Holdaway Motorsports, Connor James, will also make a couple starts in the number 5 car for Holdaway Motorsports. It's going to be a little bit exciting to see him back in the series. Pete Shepard will run the 7 car with Booster Juice for Dave Jacobs. He'll be in some of the oval track events. Shea Gemmel was impressive last year in the NASCAR Pinty series. He will also be in this season. He'll run the 8 car once again. Gavin Sanders from the, well, it used to be called the Micra Cup. It's just the Nissan Sentra Cup now, even though they still have Micras there. But Gavin Sanders will run the Fat Bastard Burrito number 10 car as well. We'll see him at 1 or 2 events. Initially, we thought he was going to put the number 10 car in this event. Not going to happen. Unfortunately, we're looking at GP3R for that event. Daniel Morad will run the 04 in Toronto for JF Dumoulin. Of course, Daniel has run there before and did a very impressive job when he did. You'll see Michael Herniak Jr. and Todd Shepard from Herniak Hall Motorsports in the Ontario Sportsman Series. They will run a couple of races on some short tracks, including Flamborough and Delaware. And, of course, Kyle Steckley in the number 24 for 22 Racing will run a couple of races on a part-time basis, something we could potentially see in 2022. I want to say that the 51 is getting closer, but that gap really has not changed the entire race. Again, it all comes down to the layout of the game, the settings. There's a lot of fiddling that you have to do if you want to have the most competitive race. And we also have to mention one thing, is that this is only 29 laps. They're not doing the full distance, so there could have been a lot more action that happened. Obviously, a pit stop involved would shake things up. The game sometimes does some really weird things, too, with pit stops, in that people like pit at like really weird times. And there's a couple of races that I've done in this where people pit with like 2 laps to go. Completely ridiculous, but it's just because that's when the settings kind of, because you have such short of a race, but you kept the regularity or the normal length for a pit stop. So I don't know if that's going to affect here. I don't think it will, but who knows? I mean, I didn't set the track settings up, so kind of left those to the creators of the track. And I just absolutely love how this game is able to showcase a track so well, even though you're not actually there. I mean, it's not iRacing quality, but it is definitely a lot of fun to be able to see this. And, you know, it's showcasing the reality of the series, in that Kevin Lacroix, Andrew Ranger, LP Dumoulin, you're really using their real-life statistics from races, statistics that were put together by people that did research, pulled the information off of reputable sites like Racing Reference, and compiled these statistics to make an effective grid as realistic as possible. So CTMP, of course, next year, you would expect it is going to be back with either, I don't know, I would expect you'd see 2 races there, but maybe we just see the one. If there's no truck series, maybe it doesn't make sense to have 2 events, and you just keep your Castrol Speed Fest, your May 2-4 weekend. Of course, we hope to be there with the Stickers and Scuffs podcast once again, covering the event and then enjoying the race as well. It's obviously something that we want to be able to do. We want to be able to cover as much as we can for the series, as Kaden Lacroix here in the IA Financial Bumper to Bumper 74. I mean, a dominating performance. Not unlike what we would see. He gets the white flag here at CTMP. In dominating form, Kaden Lacroix is looking to win the championship here. He's something he has not done, unfortunately, in the actual NASCAR Pinty Series. It doesn't look like anybody is going to challenge him, and barring any sort of mechanical problem or mistake, this race is going to be his for the taking. 29 laps here. Only reason we're not going the full distance is trying to, make sure that we don't go too long here. Kaden Lacroix, a dominating performance once again. One of the things this game is actually able to actually show you is the elevation changes that are a legitimate thing. When you come to CTMP, you can really see it. He's going to roar down the back straightaway once again. And he will pick up another win at CTMP, something that he does so very often. Andrew Ranger, LP Dumoulin, second and third. Kaden Lapsovich sitting in fourth. And JR Fitzpatrick sitting in fifth, but in dominating form for Lacroix Autosport Bumper to Bumper IA Financial. The first winner of the fictional season, Kaden Lacroix, takes the checkered flag and wins at CTMP. Congratulations to the 74 team. Congratulations for domination once again. We'll wait for everybody to come across the start-finish line. We'll get you the full rundown of results for our first fictional season race here at CTMP. One of 2, of course. We will have the second race later on in the season. We'll see other racetracks. Like I said, Montmagny is the next race. First race, actually, that we'll run there. The series has not been there before, but let's get you this full rundown here. We'll start again. Once again, instead of starting at the back, we'll start at the top here. Kaden Lacroix, dominating fashion. It did get into under a second in that last lap. The closest it had been the entire race. Kaden Lacroix is your race winner over Andrew Ranger. LP Dumoulin will round out the podium. Kaden Lapsovich sits fourth at the end of this race. Fifth for JR Fitzpatrick. Sixth for Alex Tagliani. Seventh for Marc-Antoine Cameron. Eighth for JF Dumoulin. Gary Cloot sits ninth. Kyle Marcelli is 10th. Brett Taylor, James Hinchcliffe, DJ Kennington, Matthew Skinnell, and Dexter Stacy all stayed the same. Gotta fix these ratings for next time. It was a bit of a mess. 15th place, Dexter Stacy. 16th, Jared Whistle. 17th, Kaden Lapsovich. 18th for Jason White. 19th for Alex Gannett. And 20th for Mark Dilley. You see these, that's what I'm talking about. When they kind of end the race, they do these really silly things. And they don't understand that they're supposed to go into pit road. So they're just going to sit here. Peter Cloot, 21st. 22nd for Sam Fellows. Malcolm Strawn's teammate finishes 23rd. 24th for Jocelyn Facto. 25th for Cole Powell. 26th for David Thorndike. 27th for Larry Jackson. 28th for Isabel Trombley. 29th, TJ Renamato. 30th, Brent Weller. And the rookie, Olivia Whistle, finishes in 31st. 52 seconds behind. I am not planning on using these ratings again. But that is the very first race. I'm going to make sure I got to export these because that's what we need. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Stickers and Scuffs channel. Thank you so much for watching as we see Kaden Lacroix winning. And that is going to be it for our very first attempt with this and it was actually, this was a lot of fun, and I'm very excited actually with how this went. I've never been able to get it to work, so it's awesome that it was able to work. I mean, it's not typically something that I know how to do, so definitely. There's going to be more of this weekend. They're more than likely going to run the second race as well. We got a lot of races to go through, so it's definitely been a lot of fun. We not something that I know particularly well, but it's been fun. Really, this has been a good time, and just got to make sure that we remove some stuff here, because we've got spam. But, lots of fun. Hopefully a couple people check this out. And, we'll do a couple more of these in the future. And I want to thank you guys for tuning out. Tuning in. You can tune out if you want, but just as long as you watch the video. So thank you guys for tuning out. Kaden Lacroix wins the very first race of the NASCAR Pinty Series Fictional season here on the Stickers and Scuffs channel.